Hello, welcome. This is my travel video to Pisa. I'm just going to give sort of a rundown of what travelling is like post-lockdown, as well as showing you what Pisa's like at the same time. So I'm just going to run through the video and basically explain what's going on. So we were going from Stansted Airport. As you can see, it was not too busy. It was about 9 a.m, which is normally, a lot busier than this. But it was still a good amount of people considering the pandemic going on. Um, Mask wearing is now mandatory in the UK and obviously airports, has been for a while now. And yeah, everyone followed it. It was good. It was very good, apart from the select few who just didn't seem to realise that you do breathe through your nose. But yeah, there we are. Social distancing wise, it was okay. It wasn't great. People were sort of shoulder to shoulder at times, but just grateful that people were ultimately wearing masks. When it came to security, they actually moved us from the big open space into a small, tighter space here. Didn't really make much sense to me, but I guess with a smaller volume of people, they didn't really have to use those sort of areas. I'm not too sure.
Announcement from Mr. Ronald Pelati. Just visit them to validation point 9 to collect your lost item.
Altogether, the airport process was really, really smooth. This did take me by surprise. I thought that some extra precautions would be taken throughout the airport, which would prolong the whole process, but that just wasn't the case, and it was a really, really positive experience. As you can see there, the gate is absolutely empty. I like to get on the plane last just so I can sort of scout out any free seats, and thankfully enough I did manage to find one on the plane. It was absolutely packed and there was probably only I'd say about 20 free seats, so I was pretty lucky to get a seat with a place free next to it, so I had no one really breathing down my neck. As you can imagine, being sat on a plane, it's kind of difficult to follow any social distancing rules, but that was kind of made up for everyone wearing their masks. For the whole duration of the flight, I didn't see anyone take their mask off, which was really, really great. The flight itself was only about an hour 45, so it was a really easy one. I slept for the most part, but I managed to catch the lower Alps there as we were beginning our descent. What you're about to hear is the flight attendants actually telling people to get off row by row, so starting at the front and back and working its way to the middle, which I personally believe should be a thing regardless of COVID. It just stopped that big rush you always get when you land. It was so much better.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated until the row in front or behind you has cleared the area to allow for social distancing. Thank you. Signore e signori.
So when we got into the airport, it was actually tiny, which is quite fitting because Pisa is a small city. It really took us about 15 minutes to get all the way through border control, which didn't require any extra documents, which was handy. So we were straight out into the Pisa sun. It was about 28 degrees, which was absolutely fantastic, and we went with the option of walking to the city centre because just to avoid any public transport, and the fact that it was only half an hour to get to the Leaning Tower, which really demonstrates just how small the city is. After about 20 minutes of walking, we got to where the old sort of classical Italian looking buildings, and as you can see there, the tower is in sight. Our Airbnb was actually on this street here. It was surrounded by restaurants, small little shops, cafes, and 4 minutes literally from the cathedral and the tower itself. Now, in terms of how many visitors there were at the tower and the surrounding attractions, there were certainly quite a few. Certainly not the sort of traffic you'd expect for pre-COVID times. but it was definitely a level which meant that you needed to be sensible and um, stick to the rules of social distancing and mask wearing. And what made that a lot easier was just how fantastic everyone else behaved. I was really quite shocked at how everyone adhered to the rules and even went beyond with mask wearing in places where it wasn't even mandatory. You'd see people out and about just on the streets, just wearing masks when they didn't have to in 30-degree heat, which was absolutely brilliant. So what you saw there was inside the Pisa Baptistery. That was just sort of a security guard that came in and started performing that. I almost felt like applauding afterwards. That there is the Duomo St Mary. That's what the footage earlier was showing the inside of. And then um, this was quite embarrassingly the cemetery sort of area that we were searching for. We didn't actually. We walked around the whole thing, and we were sort of more focused on the artwork than the hundreds of tombs that were surrounding the place. And we sat down, and and we were we were looking on Google Maps to find where the cemetery was for our next stop. So yeah, that was a bit foolish. This is now the tower itself. I had no idea it was completely hollow. I figured that it would be more solid or some rooms going on inside, but it's just one giant funnel. Walking up the stairs was quite fun. You could definitely feel the lean as you hit one side to the next. But once we got to the top, as you can see there, it was an absolutely fantastic view. It was really, really, really worth the money. And if you visit Pisa some point in the future, I would highly recommend it. You may have noticed I panned on a guy in a subway suit earlier. I'm just putting this in just to give him a bit of credit and recognition for the hard work and dedication he put into terrorising people with leaflets. Heat of the day, about 30 degrees, so he was absolutely sweltering out there for 6 hours, so kudos to him. Once it got to the evening, we sat down, had a meal at a restaurant. It was pretty busy. It was slightly busier than what you can see here, but again, you can see sort of people queuing outside for stores there. They're all still social distancing. All in all, it wasn't too hectic at all. It was very pleasant actually, and I didn't really feel at risk at all. We then woke up at like 3 a.m. Our flight was at 6:15 in the morning, and we walked back to the airport. And I mean, that was that. That was our trip to Pisa. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I've provided some insight into what travelling is like post-lockdown, and hopefully I'll see you all again soon.